Olympics that, in my opinion, really represent Brazilian culture in Brazilian identity, which is capoeira and carnival. So, but before that, I'd like to introduce myself. So, my name is Rita de Cássia Barreto de Oliveira. My full name, it's a sentence, I know. And Rita de Cássia is my first name. I have two first names. Barreto is my middle name, which is my mother's last name. And Oliveira is my last name, which is my father's last name. So in Brazil, that's the way that the names are usually organized. And when you get married, some people change the father's last name for the husband's last name. I'm 26 years old. I teach English as a foreign language in a public school. I have a major in languages, so I studied English, arts, and Portuguese. And I've been teaching for 6 years. Well, Brazil is a very big country. So this is the state where I come from, São Paulo, which in English is St. Peter. And São Paulo is the biggest state in Brazil. The capital city of São Paulo is also called São Paulo, which is the largest city in Brazil. There are 12 million inhabitants in São Paulo. And here you can see a few landmarks of São Paulo city. Here's Paulista Avenue, Ibirapuera Park, Municipal Market, and this is a train station, Estação da Luz. But I don't live in São Paulo city. I live in a city very close to São Paulo. The name of my city is Embu das Artes. This very small little red dot over there is my city. There are 208,000 inhabitants in Embu. But it's a small city, but it's also a very famous city because it's a touristic city. What's interesting about Embu is that there is arts and craft fair every weekend, more specifically on Sundays, where artists, they sell their products on kiosks. So if you go there on Sunday, you can find many different things like bracelets, clothes, food, and everything's handmade. Also paintings. So they have these kiosks, and people, the artists, sell their products there. A few more pictures. Yeah, that's where I come from. This is my school, Escola Estadual Vinícius de Moraes. It's in another city very close to Embu. There are 600 students in my school. It's a small school, even for Brazilian patterns. There are 12 classrooms, and we work in 2 shifts. So in the morning, we have high school students. They study from 7 to 12. And in the afternoon, we have middle school students. They study from 1 to 6. So the students spend 5 hours in schools in Brazil, in my state. In some states, it's less than 5 hours. Examples of classrooms. Here's the library, small too. Computer room. And these are some of my students. I have about 300 students, so I couldn't take a picture of all of them, but 10 of them are here, just an example. And to start talking about culture, I'd like to show you this song. This is, I think it's the most famous Brazilian song in the world. It was written by Tom Jobim and Vinícius de Moraes, which is, by the way, the name of my school, Vinícius de Moraes, in 1962. And you probably heard this song, The Girl from Ipanema. So let's do it. I'll try to sing. Yeah. Tall and tan, young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, each one she passes goes, ah. When she walks, she's like a samba that swings so cool and sways so gentle. And when she passes, each one she passes goes ah. Oh, but I watch her so sadly. How can I tell her I love her? Yes, I would give my heart gladly. But each day when she walks through the sea, she looks straight ahead, not at me. Tall and tan, young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking. And when she passes, I smile, but she doesn't see. Olha que coisa mais linda, mais cheia de graça. Ela, menina, que vem e que passa num doce balanço a caminho do mar. Moça do corpo dourado, do sol de Ipanema, o seu balançado é mais que um poema, é a coisa mais linda que eu já vi passar. Oh, but I watch her so sadly. Ah, porque tudo é tão triste. Yes, I would give my heart gladly. But each day when she walks through the sea, she looks straight ahead, not at me. Tall, tan, young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking. And when she passes, I smile, but she doesn't see. Nem olha pra mim. She just doesn't see. Por causa do amor, she doesn't see me. Por causa do amor. Thank you. I'm so nervous. Thank you. Did you know this song? So this is the most famous Brazilian song. It has been recorded by many artists in many different languages. This version was from Frank Sinatra. But today I'm going to talk, as I told you at the beginning, I'm going to talk a little about capoeira. It's something very Brazilian, typical of our culture. Capoeira is a mix of dance, fight, song, dance, everything together. So it's a simulation of a fight. It's only a simulation. People don't actually fight. And two partners, they perform attack and defense moves. So I'm going to show, oh, sorry, I forgot this. It's African origin, from African slaves. And the songs that they play, that they sing during the capoeira are related to African religion and slaves' life. So I want to show you this video. It's an example of how capoeira is played.
Oi,
example of how capoeira is played in Brazil. It's very famous. I can't do that, but my students can. They love it. And many people from different parts of the world come to Brazil to learn how to play capoeira. So now, changing the topic, I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the things why Brazil is so famous in the world. So it's the Carnival. Carnival is the biggest Brazilian celebration. It's a 4-day celebration, so it starts on a Saturday and goes into Tuesday. These are the 4 days before the Ash Wednesday and the start of the Lent. So during this period, we have this celebration where people usually go to streets wearing costumes and singing and dancing. But what's interesting is that Carnival is celebrated different ways around Brazil. That's what I'm going to show you. This is Pernambuco, a state in the northeastern of Brazil. And it's one of the biggest carnivals in Brazil, carnival celebrations in Brazil. And there, they have these big dolls, colorful dolls on the streets. They are very high, over 2-3 meters high. And then people go and sing. Oh, and these dolls, they represent famous people in the state and in the country. This is Bahia. These are all people. In Bahia, they have these trucks. And on these trucks, there is a stage where the artists, singers, and dancers go. And while the truck goes around the city streets, people go and follow these trucks. This is one of the most famous Brazilian singers, Ivete Sangalo. She's really famous in Brazil, especially during Carnival. I think this is the most famous Carnival celebration in Brazil, which is in Rio. They have these big parades. And what you may not know is that this doesn't happen on streets. There is a specific place for this to happen. So here you see the audience. They have to pay to watch the parades. The same happens in my state, in São Paulo. They have this place called Sambódromo, where the parades happen. In São Paulo, we also have this, especially in small cities, like my city in Imbu, we go to streets wearing costumes and singing and dancing. There are no big parades, but we also have fun. And another interesting thing about São Paulo and Rio Carnival is that the Carnival is a championship. So there are the samba schools, which are communities where people come to learn how to dance and to prepare the costumes. And there is a championship between many of these communities. So every year, one of them is the champion of the Carnival in the state. That's it. Thank you so much. Obrigado. That's all.